spent over 100 hours working on this, which can transform your samples from this to this, or even from this to this, all within AMBITURE. So before I show y'all what this is all about, don't forget to like and subscribe if you appreciate these high quality videos / edits. Let's get straight into it. So this is what I want to show y'all today. It's called AMBITURE, a Petra plugin that I spent over 100 hours on making, designing, and testing out to come up with arguably the best but definitely most unique Petra effects plugin there is. First, we got this reverse knob right here and the reverse speed, which is linked to the reverse knob. This is basically just blending in. And then with the reverse speed knob and slider, you can basically select in how many pieces your sample is getting cut up and then how long it takes for those cut up pieces of the sample to be reversed. So it takes a very long time for the reverse thing to come in. And now it's reversing like these whole like 4 bars. It's reversing very small parts of the sample. I intentionally didn't put any time marks or, like numbers on this so they don't confuse or distract you from, the actual sound that this is creating. Just with that, you could create some really cool bounces or just like variations in the sample that you could then use for a layer, for example, or, for counter melodies. You just kind of spice it up and create like different bounces, different pockets that you wouldn't have come up with by, just reversing the sample like so. But that's obviously not all. Turn this layers knob up, which basically just blends in a higher octave of your original signal. So now to add some extra spice, hell nah, bro, we cut that out. The hell, why did that shit just came out of me? It just adds some kind of grain delay that works really well with the layers knob, which you can again just use for layers or like little accents, little runs or whatever to just make them more unique. Same with this reverse slider right here. It again adds some grains, but as you can hear, if I turn it up much more, it adds some really weird like small grains, but also some random dropouts. So if we now use this reverse knob in combination to a slider, then add some layers, and this sounds completely different from the original. Like, I've personally never used a plugin that can create a sound like this. And everybody who I sent this to test out said the same thing. So I'm honestly really proud of this because this can actually create a really unique sound in a few seconds that no other VST or any other like digital thing can recreate. Now to the last effect knob before we get into these modulations, which are just insane. I want to talk about the stability knob right here, which basically just adds a little bit of a vintage, wobbly, weird, out of pitch effect. So let's turn all of these down again and just use the stability to see what it does. Maybe like on a smooth synth where a detune would actually make sense. Filters it a little bit. This makes it sound more analog. And then like around like the 50% mark, the wobbling comes in. And then it gets really crazy on these like last 25%. Just a detune that is a little more complex than what most plugins can do, but much more simple to use. You know, all you gotta do is just jack this knob and you got these different stages that all kind of bring in a new detune effect. And that goes for almost all the knobs on this Patcher effect plugin. Depending on how much you drag the knob, you know, some new effects, some new artifacts get introduced, which makes it very unique and very simple to use. We finally went through all the effect controls. Let's talk about those 2/4 modulation effects that you have on this left side and on this right side right here. Now this knob blends in the effect. With these knobs right here, you can turn it on and off, and these are there to switch between the two options you have. Now let's go ahead and add the sauce. It just adds a whole layer of ambient reverbiness that just sounds insane. Now for the second modulation, let's use one of the phrases from the kit as an example again. Not as extreme as the first one. It kind of sounds like a offset grain delay that is somehow pitched up. And then for the second mod, again, just drains the signal in reverb, but kind of works a bit differently. It doesn't add like this grainy, crystallized, pitched up thing to it, but more so just like filters it. I don't even know what that is. Like, I made this shit, I don't even know what exactly I did. Now for this last modulation. Kind of phases it out in like a weird way, adding an octave again. As I was able to hear with those modulation effects, the knobs aren't just simple dry wet knobs, but introduce and intensify different effects along the way to give you a control over a very complex effect with just one knob. This is basically just a volumes knob, and with this you can only activate the effects when it's all the way up. In the middle, it just activates the whole plugin, and when the slider is dragged all the way down, only the modulation part of Amateure is active. So now that I'm done showing y'all these controls individually, let's go through a few presets Amateure comes with, so y'all can hear how this Patcher plugin sounds like when you use all the knobs and controls together to create some really unique and interesting
textures, soundscapes, grain, delay, octave, reverse, pitching,
whatever type of effect. As I was able to hear, this plugin can do it all. From the little simple texture adding artifacts to crazy ambient soundscapes that you can perfectly use as layers to just add something unique, something that doesn't sound like anything else. Now, one last important thing that is a question a lot of y'all may have. This Patcher plugin does use some third-party plugins, including some paid ones, but I obviously thought about everybody who doesn't have those plugins. So Amateure comes with 7 different variants depending on what third-party plugins you may have. All you need for the Petra plugin to function normally is Output Portal, which like literally everybody has, and Soundtoys Echo Boy and Crystallizer. The old versions of Soundtoys work as well, so if you have FabFilter Q3 and either Sound Shifter by Waves or Pitch Shift by QuickQuack, that's a plus. But there are variants included where those plugins are needed. I've literally just included all these variants for people who have those extra third-party plugins, but all those variants basically sound the same. If you want to find out more about what exact third-party plugins I use, you can download the manual of AMBITURE for free in the description. And I also thought about the people who don't want to get this or just can't get AMBITURE right now, and made a free demo version of the whole kit, including this free version of AMBITURE that is a very stripped down version of the AMBITURE plugin, but it's completely free. With that being said, thank y'all for watching. If you like this video, just subscribe, like, and just write anything, bro. I'll be saying in every video, just write a comment, write anything. If you want me to keep making these high quality videos that really take a lot of time, and I've already said this in the intro, but this kit and especially this Petra plugin took me months to complete. Feel free to send me anything you make with AMBITURE. And with all that being said, see y'all in a few days. I'm out.